Assalamu alaikum. Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Jazakumullah everyone for joining. People will continue to join throughout this session. Alhamdulillah, we have had such a great journey so far. We've been going to different countries and seeing how Tabligh is being done. Went from Iceland to Ireland, and yesterday to Spain. Alhamdulillah, we've learned so much already of what we can do and what has already been done in the past. Um, so many great activities are happening around the world, and it's a good idea to, familiarize ourselves with those. And today, again, we have another very esteemed guest, a great friend of mine, and also um, a great servant of the Jamaat who's given his life and become a missionary in Finland. Just before I bring you onto the screen, Musabri Saab, I'll just do a small introduction for everyone's benefit. Musabri Sahib was born in Pakistan, moved over to Finland, and when Jamia opened in the UK, he moved over to the UK and came to Jamia in 2006 and spent a very successful 7 years and was eventually finished Jamia in 2013, graduated, and was finally posted to Finland. And from Norway to Finland, sorry, there you go. On a personal note as well, Sabri Saab has always been a very good friend of mine ever since I came to Jamia, just as we have mentioned with all the other Murabiyan. And this is something which is very unique, I would say, to our Jamia in comparison to other universities. In universities, there's a very big difference between the first year students and the last year students. They don't really intermix. But within our Jamia, especially in the old Jamia, I remember, because the building was so small, it was almost impossible to avoid each other. So we always had such a great friendship, right from the first years to the last years. And I remember since my very first days, Mr. Risab has always been such a great helper and friend. So with these short words, Mr. Risab, I do apologize. I meant Norway. He was originally from Norway and moved to Finland. But he can tell us more about that. Mr. Risab, assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam warahmatullah, and thank you for such a humbling introduction, to be honest.
No, Jazakallah. Musarraf Sahab, as I've said, it's a very big honor for us, and I'm sure we'll find out a lot about Finland and what's happening within the Finland Jamaat. But just before that, whenever we go to any country on holiday, we always team up with our family members. We go into Google, search the top 10 things to do in that country. But alhamdulillah, we have the opportunity to do this virtually now. So if I did come to Finland, if any of us joining did come to Finland, what would be the first thing you would tell us to visit and some attraction sites, would you say?
To start with, I would say Northern Lights. It's a big factor. Sometimes we even have them all the way down to Helsinki. But that only happens a couple of times a year. But generally, you can visit Santa Claus. It's a full village. You see deers. You can ride on the deer. You can ride with the deers and all that. But that's all the way top where the northern circle actually starts. But generally, nature wise, the country is full of it. I mean, the whole Scandinavia is. But as I have almost pretty much traveled all the way up to it. I've met the Santa Claus twice. It's a fun story, but only until they actually tell you to buy the picture, which costs around €40. Not many people, especially not many, or I haven't bought it yet, or so those who were with me, I buy the picture for €40. But generally, it's winter. It's in every square you have a winter wonderland, to put it that way. It's lots of snow, dark days. The sun is only out for 45 hours, 5 hours, even all the way down to Helsinki. But yeah, in winter it's a beautiful country. In summer you have the nature. But yeah, it's fun.
And we'll get to this in a second. But generally, is it a cold country? Because it does sound like a cold country.
You can
Or would you
talk,
say it's a bit?
you can say cold actually in both ways. I mean, when we talk about the people in general, they're very reserved and cold in that regard. But also in country wise, I would say that we have had two good summers. I have seen two good summers in the past 2 years. I mean, when I say good summers, I mean temperatures up to 22, 23 Celsius degrees. I know people are going to say that that cannot be, how is that good summer? But we are not used to having it this much even. So I would say it's generally cold. We have two. We normally say we have two seasons in the year. It's winter and it's less winter. So, but now with the global warming happening, I think we are having a bit of a better summer
Yeah,
for a couple of
us
months.
living in the UK can definitely relate to that with the unexpected weather here. At least
Yeah.
you can guess what weather you'll have. But for someone who's coming from Norway, Norway
Oh yeah.
generally quite a cold country. Uh, Finland must be bit more pleasant in terms of weather.
No, actually, they're on the same level. They're on the same level of cold and heat. So to say, they're pretty much weather-wise, they're pretty much the same countries. I didn't have a problem adjusting to the weather here. To say that way. I mean, my family did. I mean, my wife still, because she was from UK. But I mean, we settled in well.
Alhamdulillah. And as we are going on this journey, Mr. Rasab, you're from Norway originally, and you spent a good amount of time in the UK within the presence of beloved Huzur as well. Uh, at the time of your posting, how was that feeling for you to be, taken away from almost your homeland of Norway to somewhere we haven't really been before?
When it comes to the fact of going away from Norway, to put it that way, I think I was somewhat ready to move away from Norway because when in Jamia, we were there for 7, 8 years. And in the last year, when we graduated in 2013, we went to Africa yes, Africa first, then came back, stayed in the UK, went to Spain, came back, stayed in the UK, went to Pakistan. So it was almost a year away from home with no holidays. Normally, we would go after 3 to 4 months. So I was somewhat ready to actually move away from Norway, be it anywhere else. But it was, I think, I would say, harder to actually when you realize that it was after 7 years of being near Huzur or having the chance to be near Huzur. It was at the start, the feeling was a bit difficult to actually intake that you will be moving away to a country and you won't be coming for sure for so regularly and actually meeting Huzur. I think that was more difficult than actually moving away from Norway. I believe so. I believe that was the case when
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
And we did speak about this, the relationship, of course. Jamia UK is such a unique Jamia. And just yesterday, we had a very nice meeting with Nisar Saab and Lake Ahmedar Saab. The previous, when you were there, especially the the what's the word? The principal of Jamia.
Yeah.
And how was that then? How was that for someone coming from outside in Europe to the UK, and then suddenly Huzur's there all the time, and you get to meet him, and then all of a sudden Huzur sending you back into Europe to a different country? Did Huzur give any special guidance? Did he give you some sort of advice before you left?
Yeah. No. So basically, first coming into the UK was a bit different. I mean, us being not so very fluent in English was a bit of a problem because in our class we have lots of people from England and Britain, but you get adjusted to it when you live with them day in and day out. But when it came to the final posting, I mean, I got the letter. I mean, I got posted in April, start of April 2014. I got to knew that was my posting, but I hadn't left UK even after a couple of weeks after that. So I was in the PS office working uh, as a Waqf Arzi, so to say. And Hazur walked by and Hazur said to me, "Tum abhi tak gaye nahi, you haven't gone yet." I said, I was a bit gobsmacked. I was like, I was like, Huzur, they haven't told me to go yet. So, but then a couple of days later, when I met with Tabshir, and they said that they're still preparing for arrival of a missionary in Finland. So I asked Majid Saab that, meanwhile, while they're preparing, can I go to Norway quickly for a week or so? So before that, I requested to meet Huzur, and then I actually did had a chance to meet Huzur just before going. And I still remember, with all these other instructions, Huzur said that, you only you send away, or you, as in he was saying in the way that, I trust you to go and do a good job. And so basically that is something that was very emotional. It was very hard. It was hard to swallow at that point, that you are actually going away, and the relationship changes a bit. When you're in Jamia, you're a kid, and Hazur is like a blissful father. But when you're graduated, Murabbi, the relationship changes. It becomes somewhat more professional. I mean, he's still very beloved with the family and all that, and but you have more responsibility, and that responsibility and that trust comes with responsibilities. So I mean, whatever we do, we always hope for the pleasure of God and his Khalif, of course. But the relationship changes a bit. It becomes it slowly become more and more professional, and you
Yeah,
feel it with Hazur as well.
yeah, I'm
But
sure all missionaries can definitely relate to that. When we
yes.
come outside from our work to the mulakat, the first thing Zoo's going to ask us is, "Kya kaam kar rahe hain?" What work is that? It's probably one of the most daunting times. But as you said, Zoo's been there. He's been raising us, but the responsibility is massive. So, alhamdulillah, your journey so far, you've reached Finland.
Oh yes.
Was it more of a Tabligh mission, do you think, or would Tabligh must have also come into it, because a small Jamaat, about over 200 or so members, but Tabligh must have been a big thing for you, of how you would go and preach to the Finnish people.
Yes, the first thing was the language. I mean, even though it is a Scandinavian country, the general notion is that, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, probably the same language. Same language. I think that notion had something to do with my posting as well. Even till today, that Norway, Finland might have the same language. But to clarify that, the languages are earths apart. There's no similarity between Norwegian, Swedish, Danish, and Swedish. I mean, those three languages are similar, but Finnish has got nothing to do with them whatsoever.
Okay.
So, so the first thing was to learn another language again. Um, in Jamia, having to go through Arabic and then firstly English because of it being in the UK, and then learning Finnish. So even today, I'm still learning. I mean, every now and then I do take courses for more advanced language courses, but even today I'm still taking courses. But that language was the first thing, and then to actually get into the Jamaat, getting to know every single person, and how to actually start preaching, because I had the responsibility of being the first missionary ever directly posted to Finland. Before me, Sayyid Kamal Yusuf Sahib, respected Sayyid Kamal Yusuf Sahib, used to come as Waqf-e Arzi here, and also Mukarram Agha Yahya Khan Sahib, who is the missionary in charge of Sweden nowadays. He would come on Waqf-e Arzi to Finland, because Finland used to be under Sweden. But when I was posted in 2014, I was the first one to specifically be posted into Finland. So Tabligh responsibilities and Tarbiyat, they were both there, even though the Jamaat at that time was around 150. But the setup was there. I mean, the Amla, the Secretarian, the Jalsa Salana had started. The setup was there. But when the Tabligh was something to actually to get to know the psyche of the people first. I mean, I think as a Muslim also written that when you go somewhere, learn the psyche of the people.
Yeah.
And as I said, that when you ask the question, is it cold here? So the people generally are cold and more reserved. And I mean, recently when the social distancing laws were brought up that you should stay 2 meters away from each other. There was a meme in the Finnish newspaper that why is the government telling us to stay closer than normally? We are normally 4 meters away. Now they're saying you have to stay away only 2 meters. So that is what they think about themselves. That is what they write about themselves. So getting them to actually speak, to actually get to talk, that is still, even till this day, a trick or an issue that whenever we discuss Tabligh or we have a Tabligh meeting, people tend to discuss it, that these people just don't react to anything. So so we are still planning, still trying different new things every now and then, but alhamdulillah, sometimes you get to have good discussions, and then that brings to more forward.
And it's good we've touched upon Tabligh now, because of course any country you go to, you have to learn the language, but at the end of the day, we have to somehow, that's our jobs as missionaries, get the message to them. Zoom's not going to take any no for an answer. We have to somehow do it, and alhamdulillah, so many missionaries around the world have done it, and like yourself and many others. So what have you seen that's actually worked? Because you talked about the psyche. Most people in Finland are from a Christian background, or originally from a Christian background. So with all the studies that you did, how did you put it all together almost to start talking to them about religion?
We almost never start discussing directly with religion. That's what I understood, and that's what I actually did. And also another thing is that you need to create a circle around you whom you can preach to. I mean, find out your hobbies, what you're good at. I joined when I came here, I joined a table tennis club. And then you get to know people, you get to understand people, and then I started telling them about who I was. They were very interested in the fact that you are 24 or 25 years old. How you're an imam? We have only seen those people with long beards. Even when I went to meet the chief of police in Helsinki, he was shocked, and I said to him, I think you're probably expecting someone with a long white jubba with a white topi on his head and and the long distorted beard. And he was like, yes, I was. I'm going to be very honest. Another thing is, they're very honest people. And he said straight away, yes, I was a bit shocked. But that is how I actually started. That joined a table tennis group. I used to play table tennis. Joined a group there. Started, going to more of these language coffee groups, where you discuss language, or you learn language over a coffee, or a friendly chat where you chat about your life and stuff like that. So that is how we actually started, and then we started pushing the idea of holding Quran exhibitions in various libraries. We hold them still even now, where we actually get permission. We haven't stopped that, but we started holding Quran exhibitions in various libraries. What we did there was that we approached them with saying that, look, we have the Holy Quran in so many languages, more than 70 languages translated. So we will be presenting that to the people. So we posted it as more of a literary work rather than a Tabligh work. So that is what they were interested in, and then we started having discussions there. And again, but when I first came to Finland, there was one thing that it took me not some time, but I understood it on the first or second Quran exhibition, that some customs that you don't mess with in a new country. I mean, one was their Finnish custom of sauna. They use sauna religiously. And I had a person coming up to me at a Quran exhibition. He was actually quite angry. And he said to me, I was in sauna yesterday, because they have public saunas everywhere. So he said, I was in sauna yesterday, and an Asian looking man came in, and he was wearing his shorts. And here in sauna, you have to be naked. You are not allowed to wear anything. You can bring your towel with you, but you can't wear any external clothing beside that. And he said that I said to that person that you have to be naked. You can't come in with your shorts. And he said, no, even if your prime minister comes and tells me to take my shorts off, I won't take my shorts off. And he was so angry. He was like, why do Muslims come to this country if they don't want to follow the rules and regulations of the country? So he was so angry just about the fact that Asian looking man didn't want to follow the rules of the sauna. So when I said that you have to understand the psyche of the people, That is when I
Wow.
realized that sauna is something religious for them, but it is also a
Wow.
social gathering for them.
Hmm.
You cannot just say that, because it's a social gathering. I mean, in
Yeah.
where I live, in our building, we have a sauna. We have a sauna where people know it's open for men once a week for a couple of hours. Normally, people sit wearing a towel. So I have gone to saunas as well, but it's not, it's gender separate. I mean, it's not. I mean, but yeah. So you have to find various ways. I've had beautiful chats with people in saunas, in coffee shops. They love their coffee. I mean, Humayun Sahib will remember, I used to drink Coke by if not by the liter, by half the liter in Jamia. But now I drink coffee, and that also black. It started. It almost actually started back then when we started realizing what these people actually are into, and how we can get them to talk actually.
And I think people always accept you more if you change according to their culture within the limits that Islam has set. And I remember beloved Hazur has always said this, especially about Africa, but don't go there and try and change their culture because that's not what you're going for. You're going there to teach them about Islam, and Islam is a universal religion, and you must understand that it's not just coming from, subcontinent. Islam is for everyone, and everyone should be allowed to exercise their culture within the limits that Islam has set.
No,
And I think
exactly.
that's a brilliant tip. Especially if you understand the psyche, you can understand their culture at the same time, and you can, almost become like them
Mm.
in a way, and they'll accept you more. And I said, like you said, you've had good conversations with them within those situations. Yeah.
So yeah, no, it is what it is. I mean, Islam is a very adaptive religion. Uh, it has got its limits, of course, definitely, but it's still also a very adaptive religion. I think that was, so we need to find those fine limits where we can extend to. And also, I mean, lots of people do that. One thing that actually we found out that whenever we we did usually have those exhibitions or stalls, they are very talkative when they're a little bit drunk. They say themselves that if you want us to be talkative, get us a little bit drunk, and then we are very talkative. Sometimes we normally think that a person would come, and if he's drunk he's going to say something bad or something like that. To even today, I was proven very wrong by this notion that a person, he was a little bit drunk, he said himself, I'm a little bit drunk, but he was speaking so eloquently about spirituality. I was a bit shocked myself, astonished. And he was like, I believe in spirituality, and I believe that you have to be good, and you have to follow God. And he was, in between, he would say, yes, I know I'm a little bit drunk. But I was like, if I was to explain this to someone, that a drunk person was telling me all this, they would say, nah, that's not possible. But
Yeah.
it's just that you find good-hearted people, even if they're a bit under the intoxication of of their drinking. So
Exactly. And I
be
think
open to
especially
everyone, basically.
exactly, I think the Holy Prophet ﷺ taught us that as well. If you remember the time of the Arabs when Islam first came, they were all, they all had good in their heart,
Oh,
and the Holy Prophet ﷺ was able to change that whole nation into people who became, radiallahu anhum, that Allah was pleased with them. So there's hope for every single person, and we shouldn't give up on anyone, I think. So I just wanted to share some pictures which you sent in. I know you mentioned some exhibitions that you've been doing. I believe
yeah.
even today you had some exhibitions going on or some tabligh activities. So could you just explain to everyone what's happening here and how you set it up, how it will work, so that if we're not doing it, then how can we start doing it as well?
This is the picture that you have put up. That's in Turku, which is around about 180 kilometers from Helsinki, and that's the multi faith week. They organize a multi faith week. They invite various religions to come and have this stall, and they invite college students, university students, and other people, and also it's open to public as well. So, and you have all the faiths together having their stalls and stuff like that. So the one thing is that be in connection with other faiths around you. I mean, you are a religion, you are a person of faith, or you are a Muslim. Don't be afraid to actually go to other religions and actually discuss with them what they're doing. You might actually find very brilliant or good ideas. I mean, we would see Jehovah's Witnesses standing every day wherever we would go. They would have their book stand, and they would just stand there quietly, nicely dressed. And once I went up to him, I said, do you pay for this, or is it because we had the notion that to get a stall you had to pay, or some people would say, you have to pay, it is expensive and all. So once I just went up to them, I had a discussion with the lady who was there for an hour. She was explaining to me Jehovah's Witnesses, but I actually went out to figure out whether she's paying for it or not. So at the end of the discussion, I asked her that, so where do you get the permission? She gladly, after, because I listened to her for an hour, she gladly gave me the form, the contact information and everything. And couple of weeks after that, we were standing there with our own stall, and she was standing actually right in front of me and smiling at me. But the thing is, don't so that is a World Faith Week or World Harmony Week in Turku. So yeah, so we learn lots of things from various other
That's,
religions.
yeah, that's a really good tip. And uniting religions is always a great thing. And we shouldn't be scared. We should be out there. We should be in the middle of all that. And
That's
if anyone should be representing Islam, it should be us, if we're teaching that we're the true Islam.
true.
On top of that, there's also this, which
Oh yeah, this
looks
was,
amazing.
yeah, it was actually cold that day.
It looks
Some
very
again in Turku, they vandalized the Jewish synagogue, and we went for the solidarity. This picture was actually taken by one of the bloggers, and he put it up on his blog as well, but he sent it to me. So yeah, as you can see, the placard with the lights on, that's actually one of the people who were there. She joined in and she held up. It's basically said with solidarity to the synagogue of Turku. So as I said, that get together with other religions. I generally have good relationships with the rabbi of Finland. I have visited the synagogue a couple of times. He comes to our peace symposium as well. So generally a very nice person, very humble person, very down to earth person. So yeah, we also visit churches. We ask them that we have a group of people coming. They want to know about your faith, and they happily show us around, give us a small talk for a couple of minutes, and then we also invite them. So that's why you can open a way of them also actually coming to us. So you have to go to them and then tell them, listen to them for half an hour, and then actually tell them, oh, you're also welcome to come to our place. And then they do, and then you can get a chance to tell them your point of view.
Yeah.
So
I think it's so true though. We learn from Hadith as well that to get to God, you have to take a step towards Him, and He'll take two steps towards you.
Yes.
If you stretch out to Him one arm length, He'll stretch out, more. And so in that, there's this sort of lesson for all of us that we need to almost make the effort. You won't just get priests and rabbis coming to you straight away.
Yeah.
We have to build those connections wherever we're going in the world. And that's another great lesson which you've told us. There were quite a few more. Just to name a few. I believe this is within your own mosque. I see.
Yeah, it is within our own mosque. This is the theology class for Helsinki University. The class that studies theology. They come every year. This is last year. This year, due to Corona, they might not come up. So we're planning something next year in February. But this is their class. They come. The new class that actually starts the course, because the professor is also actually doing the verification of our Quran translation of the Finnish language. So generally, yeah, he's the professor of the class. So he's the one who brought them. He brought them in, and they came with the whole class came. We gave a short introduction of the Jamaat. They had refreshments and also, of course, question and answer sessions. As you must know, or you must have heard, Finland is actually a very feminist country, or feminism is very high. So As you can see, there are lots of girls in that class as well. The
Yeah.
normal notion is that Finland is a feminist country, but generally it is in the way that women do tend to be more on the more education side of things, and they do actually tend to discuss
जी,
the religion more.
जी. That again, we were talking previously before in the other meetings that we've had. The mosque is such a good center point to also bring people towards Jamaat. And I think we've always said it's the best form of tabligh because just them being in the mosque, that in itself, they're learning so much. But we don't really have to say much. They just have to look and they'll observe for themselves that, it's only peaceful things are happening in the mosque. But one question which comes up again and again wherever we go, wherever tabligh isn't happening as much as I want to do tabligh, but the people around me, they don't want to do it, or I can't motivate them enough to do it. Was that something that you perhaps came across, or were you able to change that
Yeah,
mindset within?
yes, because the thing is that at the start you don't get results. You're not gonna be able to do big things at the start. So you have to start small. As Hazur has mentioned many times, go out to do brochure distributing, and everyone can do actually do brochure distribution. So sometimes not seeing results tend to take people a little bit back. They're like, we have done so much, but there are no results. But the thing is that you just have to be at it. You always find few people who will be around you and they will be ready for it. And you just have to look for them. I mean, whenever someone does something for Allah the Almighty, he helps them himself. Sometimes you find people who come to you with ideas, and you implement them, and you find out, yeah, that is a very good idea actually. So just stick to it. That is what I believe, that if because yeah, of course, it's our responsibility. We have to stick to it. You have to stick to it. But in generally as well, that you might not see results on day one, but those are worldly results. The results that you're actually going to achieve in the hereafter are much more. But even in this world, we do get results. They might not be as a quick bath or something like that, but your message will be getting out. People will be more listening,
Yeah.
and all that. So it's just a matter of, as the Prophet Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam has said that even about prayer, that you're not gonna feel the all the blessings of prayer on the first day. So just stick to it. Just keep on praying. So even with tabligh, just keep on doing it. There's no other way around it. So you
I'm
just have.
sure I'm sure there will be fruit. All the
Oh
effort
yes.
that we're giving, there's definitely fruit. And upon that, have you had any experience of people coming into your Jamaat? And if so, is there any sort of inspirational incident that you can relate to everyone?
I mean, directly, yes, a few, but I mean, I'll quote directly from today. Actually, when I was speaking with Ravi Saab, Humayun Saab, or on WhatsApp. I was actually in the afternoon today, standing outside with the banner, "Messiah has come," and literally a very aged person, really sweet person, came and he started looking at the picture of the Prime Messiah very closely, and he started asking, "Who is he?" We said, we explained to him, we believe him to be the Prime Messiah and the Mahdi, and all that. And he said that, I'm not very learned and I don't know much about religion, but I can say one thing is that when I look at his picture, I see piety and I see truth. And even he is not like him by just saying it just gives you so much strength. It just gives you so much pleasure that people from nowhere would actually come and just those who are actually with the and that is from today. I mean, another lady who is actually under very close to Bath. She was or she still is a Muslim, but she was a Christian beforehand. She converted to she became Muslim a couple of years back, and now she is ready for Bath for to join the Jamaat. When she read about all the rights that actually Islam gives to women, she was like, I've been Muslim for 6 years and no one has ever told me that Islam actually gives rights to women. So she was very angry at Islam when she first met me, and she had all those questions about But generally, and then then we started discussing about Khilafat and Huzur. And then she asked me that if I write a letter, would Huzur reply to me? I said, yes, of course you can write. And she started writing even before she was this close to doing bad. She started writing letters to Huzur, and she was getting a private reply to her house, posted to her house. And she phoned me up. He said, look, I have not come across any Muslim leader, let alone any world leader, of so many great people who would actually write back and actually would answer to my humble letter or few English letters. She said, I don't even know how to address him properly, and he would still write back. So there are various anecdotes which help you raise your faith in various ways. Something will raise your faith in Ahmadiyyat, something will just raise your faith in Khilafat. It's just amazing that once you go actually out to do tabligh, how it actually helps your own faith, and it raises your own faith.
Yeah, and I think that's what we were talking about always, that the way to learn about tabligh, about your own religion, is getting into tabligh and starting to talk about it. Then you become firm in your own faith, especially for the young guys who are listening. It's something which they're very reluctant on doing because many feel that they don't know enough. But actually, when you start learning and start asking questions, you must get it all the time, and with me as well. Young people always asking me, look, I've talked about this person, I don't know what to say, quickly tell me. And then you quickly give them the answer, and then they feel very satisfied, like, Jazakallah, you really helped me. And that helps them and everything in their tarbiyat and their tabligh activities. But with us, we make so many tabligh contacts. Is your mindset of why are these guys all coming over the finish line, or is it okay to just maintain a good relationship? Does that also benefit you in Finland?
Yeah, I mean, it always helps. I mean, because the thing is, not everyone is going to do bad. We know that. And we need to understand that. So sometimes we get very pushy on someone, and we think that, no, he can do bad. We push it. And sometimes that pushing becomes negative, and that person actually starts moving away. So there's a fine line which you have to realize, that even if you make a good contact, I mean, my friends who are Finnish, they have brought some people to me whom they taught are very into religion, and through them I have had more other good contacts who actually, the lady I'm actually talking about, that's how she actually got to know about Ahmadiyyat. But the person who brought her, she's not willing, or she's not ready to do the bai'at or convert. But so God works in mysterious ways. I mean, even having context helps a lot, because the thing is, they spread a good word about you. Because I mean, one friend of mine once said to me, I mean, he's not, I consider him a friend, but he's at the age of my grandfather. He's an old priest, and we meet up. It's been a few months now, because he's aged 77, and he's in a group where you shouldn't be going out of the house because of the COVID-19. But he was a Christian priest in Tanzania and all that. So he's such a loving person, and I have known him now for 3-4 years. He's been coming over to my house and bringing presents. But all the contacts he has within the church, he has forwarded those contacts to me, and he tells me, you should contact that person, you should contact that person. I've spoken to him about you. You can go and meet him. You'll go together. So I mean, God works in mysterious ways. One contact might not become an Ahmadi, but he might bring so many around him, near you, or near your faith, or near religion, where you get the chance to tell so many different people about Ahmadiyyat. And you never know, some of them may actually do bad and then join. So
very
yeah,
true.
don't push too hard sometimes. We tend to become too eager sometimes.
Exactly. I think as well, when you're having a debate or talk with someone, it's not the person you're talking to who you're trying to convert. It's sometimes the people who are listening. Those are the people who are actually taking everything in, and their hearts are slowly changing. And that's, of course, that's all Allah Almighty's, the way He works. So Jazakallah, Musawwir Saab. We can go all day and all night, maybe. Because I know it's already 11 o'clock in Finland right now. You are 2 hours ahead of us. So we won't keep you too long. I know you have family to get to as well. But if you allow us, we have a few questions people are sending in, which I think will, inshallah, benefit us a lot. So the first question, which is sent in, is what qualities should a da'i ilallah have?
It's such a it's an easy and a tough question, because the thing is, I will only say what Hazur has always said. A da'i ilallah should always be humble. They should always have a good connection with God. But one thing I normally tell in Finland, all the people who go to Tabligh, I always tell them that make sure that you do not start a discussion where the other person has to defend himself. Start a discussion always in a friendly manner, and also in a manner where you discuss similarities. Because in my experience, when a person becomes defensive, he's not going to listen to you. He's just going to defend whatever is in his mind. So being humble, lots and lots of prayers, and just stick to it, and also find similarities with everyone you have a discussion with, because then they will open up, and that will help you that helps us in our discussions.
Yeah. Jazakallah, that's a very, very good answer, and I think many people can actually benefit from that. Our job isn't just to just go crazy giving out leaflets and attack. It's almost, we have to have some sort of similarity, like you said, and be on their level and talk to them on their level, and slowly they'll be more friendly with us, and that's how you make contact in the end. The second question is, when handling out leaflets, how can we attract people's attention?
Yeah, that is one thing that I find, that is, even in Finland, people ask. I normally have a trick that when I see a Muslim coming, I go to them with saying Assalamu alaikum instead of hi, good day. Normally,
Yeah.
people who are Muslims, they would take the leaflet. Majority of the Muslims, when you say Assalamu alaikum rahmatullah, they would take the leaflet. When it comes to others, I normally start with hi, good day, how are you doing? It's just a small message of peace, a small read for you when you're going on the train or something like that when they're traveling. So it's just a little engaging them to realize you're actually standing there, because the life is so busy. Normally, people sometimes don't even recognize that a person is actually standing there, handing out something to them. So just to get their attention, just to get the eye-to-eye contact, say a few words, say a few friendly words, that how are you doing? Hi, good day, have a good day. Something to read on your travel, on your train, on your bus, or a light short read for you to enjoy, or something like that. Yeah, but I can what's the word? Understand the problem or the predicament. It is something we all face. Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely true. When you go out into the streets, it's very daunting. How do we start this? What do we do? You're in the middle of a city center and people are just coming left, right, center. How do we just approach them? So I think I think within a few minutes you start to understand what people are attracted to, especially even the front cover of a leaflet or of a book.
Yeah.
It all depends on what the situation is. I remember when we were doing Tabligh here in Walsall, in the Midlands. We were seeing who's more receptive, who's taking which leaflet more, and we realized that especially Muhammad the Liberator of Women, many people started taking that. So we decided, look, let's put that on top, and let's put other leaflets as well within it or under it, and let's give that as the leaflet. And they started taking it, and they started really getting interested into how Islam actually liberates women and gives them that freedom of expression. And how Ahmadiyyat, especially, how Hazrat Masih taught that. So it all depends on the situation. Everyone will.
I mean, you were in Spain. You guys went to Spain as well, right? Your class went to Spain. We went to Spain. We didn't know a word of Spanish. So I mean, we started there by saying "mensaje de paz." I still remember the phrase, "message of peace," and I mean, prayers of Huzur, help from God was definitely there. But I mean, sometimes you just have to do it. Start with nothing at all. And I think leafleting some definitely about that. Just start, and then you get to know what's actually working.
And the next question is we're still within the Tabligh stall. I think many people, because it's something that everyone does, but some people maybe they don't know how to start a conversation. So say someone has come to you, how would you, in Finland and generally, how could you start a conversation with everyone?
I normally, firstly try and learn mostly about the person who has actually come. So I try and find out what his interest, what her interests are on coming actually to the store. I mean, I ask them, how are you doing? How was your name? What do you do? And then try and find out what interested them in the store. Sometimes they say that, the message love for all, hatred for none interested me, and then I speak about the peace, the Islamic teachings of peace. Sometimes they say that the Messiah has come, interested me. So I understand with that they might be some Christian background there. So that's where I started discussing about Jesus, the beauties about Hazrat Isa alayhi salatu wasalam in the Holy Quran, or how Hazrat Maryam alayhi salam has been described in the Holy Quran. Sometimes they're just simply saying that Islam is purely evil, or Islam doesn't fit with the society, and then I try and talk to them about what teaching does Islam give. I mean, they say love thy neighbor. I said Islam says the same thing, love thy neighbor. We follow the religion, we follow that's the same thing, and then try and give them the peaceful teachings of Islam. How, and then sometimes they simply say that you're here to bring Sharia law. I mean, nowadays it's become such a thing that you're here for Sharia law, and I tell them that I am an imam. Even I don't know what Sharia law is, to be very honest. I haven't read a single book which says that this is the exact Sharia law, so I cannot tell you what Sharia law is. So if you're willing to listen to me about it, then I can tell you, guaranteedly, there's no one in the world agrees on what actually Sharia law is. So don't be afraid that I'm going to bring Sharia law. Sharia law says follow the leaders of your land, or obey them. That is what Sharia says. So that is what we're doing. That is what Muslims should do. So basically, just to figure out what actually interested them in coming in the first place. I mean, people, I mean, in Europe especially, they don't just go, or in Finland, I know for a fact they don't come if they're not interested. Something catches their eye. So once we are able to find out what actually caught their eye, then you can mold your discussion according to that, and it remains interested for them as well. I always end up try giving them the book Life of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because at the end I always say that, look, whatever I have said, I have only said what I was told or I learned by the Holy Prophet of Islam. So if it is in your interest to learn more or to read more, then you will learn more from this book. And you should take a copy. It's for free. We give it out for free. There's no cost. Sometimes they're very shocked about, why are you giving it for free? but so I try to actually, at the end of the book, give them a book, any kind. But Life of Muhammad is something that actually helps me in when I say that, these teachings are actually what the Holy Prophet brought, and you can read more from this book.
Jazakallah, very, very eloquent answer there again. And everyone's benefiting, and as you're talking, more and more people are making questions. We want to keep you until the late night, but inshallah we'll wrap it up quickly. Just a few more questions that we want to get through, which I think will benefit others from your own experience. One person has asked, what should you do if someone asks you a question when you don't know the answer, and you are one-on-one, you're on the spot, something which everyone dreads, but it does happen. We don't know everything, and life is a continuous learning cycle. So what could you advise someone in that situation?
From my experience, or what I try to do, is that if I don't know answer to something, I would very honestly tell them, look, at this point in time, I don't have your answer, but let's meet up and I will give you your answer. Because there comes a time, not everyone knows everything. Sometimes they might come with a hadith which is you don't even know about. I mean, there are so many books of hadith. Sometimes it's blatantly against the teaching of the Holy Quran. It's just a made-up hadith. It's wrong. But sometimes it's a hadith that may sound right. You have to do more research. So instead of, I always tell my khuddam this: do not dig yourself your own hole. So if you start talking and making or answering in a way that the other person realizes that you're just trying, or you're just saying something for the sake of saying, you're going to turn that person away. He's not going to listen to you, even when you're saying the truth, or even when you're saying the right thing. So I think that when this happens, it is a very difficult thing to do. But I try myself to say that I'm sorry, but at this point I do not have your answer fully, and I also say that I do not want to give you a false answer, so that the other person knows that I'm holding him to level of respect that I want to answer him correctly. But it also gives the chance to actually get their contact number, or give your contact number or contact details to them. So I normally say that, so I don't forget, could you quickly email this question, or this question on this email? So I would get their contact number like that.
Exactly.
So and then I will answer them back, and then a conversation will start going on. So it's just a way of getting their contact number and the question, of course, at the start with.
It's true. And I think it's very important to make them feel appreciated as well by saying, it's a very, very good question, and I'll get back to you on that. And there's nothing wrong with, Huzur always tells us, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with going away, finding the information, asking different people, and then coming back to them. And if they are sincere people, they will wait for the answer. So Jazakallah, that's a very, very good question. I think there's one more question. Going back to culture, one member has asked, trying to make changes in their culture makes them feel offended. But what if their culture goes against the teaching of Islam? Then how do you approach that?
You mold them slowly and slowly. I mean, that is after they become Ahmadi, or they want to become Ahmadi. When they're not Ahmadis and they discuss with you various parts of their culture. I mean, look, there are good and there is bad in every culture in the world. As a Muslim, you should always try and adapt the good in that culture. And I've always realized, even with my life in Norway and with my parents there, that if you are honest with them the first time, then they respect you. But there are when you indulge with them and you go to a bar and you have a glass, and then a few weeks later you tell them, actually I'm a Muslim, I don't drink. That never helps. But because of even in Norway, because my schooling was done in Norway, and we were the only family there, actually, or the only Muslim family in the area, because we used to live a couple of hours drive from Oslo. We, from a very young age, my parents told me that, just be honest and just say it straight out that I don't do this. I can't. So I found that they respect you even more when you're being honest with them. The one good, the lots of qualities. Another quality is that they respect truthfulness in these countries. And if you're being truthful with them and you're being straight up and right with them, they will respect you even more. So we're not, and we also explain to them that, look, we're not trying to change who you are, because a human being cannot change. But you have to explain, if there are genuinely bad cultural issues, then we explain to them slowly why these things are happening, and why these things are actually explained in the Holy Quran and by ahadith, not by attacking their culture, but also just explaining that there are some issues, and they generally do accept those issues. They know that they are bad things, but they just can't seem to get away from it because it's part of their culture now. So it's a tricky question. It's a very good question, but I think it's just with dua and also understanding how deep the culture actually goes. You cannot change it over the night.
Definitely. I think Quran as well has given the answer to that straight away, is by talking to them in a kind and soft way. And through that, slowly they'll understand things. And not by you telling them, but just by them observing how other people, it comes with namaz as well. How do you teach someone namaz? They're going to learn themselves, but once they start looking at other people, they'll start realizing that, okay, this is how to do it, and this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. So it's a great answer, Jazakallah. And the experience is going to help us so much. I know we're still very young, when you talk about a murabbi, people think, 40s, 50s, and have all that experience. But alhamdulillah, even through our short journeys, there's things that people can learn from. So Jazakallah. Service Hub. And if you can there's one more question that has just come in. If you can just sum up quickly.
No problem.
Someone just asked a very personal question. What made you become a Murabbi? Why did you do that? We'll end up on a light-hearted question.
I'm gonna answer it very shortly. I'm gonna be very honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is the honest answer. I'm sorry for the questioner or the person who asked the question, but the honest answer is is if you're going to ask me that there was a story behind it when I was 10 years old, I wanted to become a murabbi. I respect all those stories, but I didn't have any of those stories that when I was 10, I wanted to be a murabbi. When I was 12, I wanted to be a murabbi. I always wanted to be a murabbi. To be honest,
Want to be a murabbi.
I don't know. I mean, I know for a fact that this path was chosen for me. And if I had, and I know for a fact that if I had to go back and choose again, knowing how it's going to turn out, I would choose this path for sure, 100%. But when the time was there, I remember. I mean, I came back from school one day, but because my father is serving as secretary of Finland, he had the Jamia admission forms on the table, and I came home early. I started reading the form, and when my dad came, I said to him, I want to apply for Jamia. And even at the start, my dad was a bit shocked because he was like, I wanted that you would go to Jamia yourself. I didn't want to pressurize you or anything, but I thought that maybe you would go after college. But I said to dad, look, I have a feeling that if I'm going to go now. And if I end up going to the college, I don't know whether I'm going to go or not. So the honest answer to the question that came in is that honestly, I do not know, but I would for sure do it again if I ever got the chance, or if there was a possibility, I would do this all over again. And why I would do this all over again is the love and attention you get from Khilafat. There is no substitute for that ever in anyone else's life. You just can't, you just can never forget it, and or go away from it. It's impossible to find anywhere in the world. So that's my answer to your question. Unfortunately, there's no big story behind it, but it is the truth.
And just a beautiful way to end today's talk is on Khilafat. I think, as you don't know why you came, sometimes with Khilafat, it just attracts you and it pulls your heart towards something which you don't know what it's going to be. And so many guys in Jamia were like that. They were just brought in and they don't really have an answer why they came, but they know that the ultimate goal is worth it. So alhamdulillah, I too totally agree with you. If you're to come back in this world, and well, I was to ask you, what would you become? It would be to become a Murabbi, and to be able to help people within their faith and religion to get closer to Allah. And ultimately, that's what our mission as Tabligh is for every single person listening, and for everyone, all Ahmadis. It's everyone's job, just as Allah, the Almighty said to the Holy Prophet ﷺ, "Balligh ma unzila ilayk." We too, inshallah, should try and uphold this mission and try to spread the teachings of Islam to all corners of the world. With these words, Masarur Sahab, Murabbi Sahab, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the whole of the Midlands in the UK and everyone watching around the world. We do have a few international guests as well who have joined us along the way. It's been a great journey so far. We've been traveling all around Europe. And it's been a pleasure learning from all of your experiences. Muslim Service Hub, you are no exception. So Jazakallah. I hope and pray that the Finland Jamaat, continues to prosper and continues to grow. Even though our small Jamaat, Allah will definitely, through all your efforts, increase the Jamaat slowly and steadily. So Jazakallah for your time, and Jazakallah to your family for allowing you to give time to us as well. We really appreciate that. And as tradition goes, we always end with a silent prayer. So Musawwir Sahib, could you lead all of us in silent prayer, please?
Jazakallah for having me. Kindly join me in silent
Yes.
prayer. Ameen.
Ameen. Jazakallah, Musawwir Sahib. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to everyone.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.